Welcome back to Riding Bikes in San Diego. We are on Mission Gorge getting into Grantville from Allied Gardens, and as much as I would love to go straight on Mission Gorge and take that all the way to Fairmount, I can't because there's really no bike lane. So what I do is dip around here on Zion, I make a right, and I loop this around and take some back roads that I want to show you. This is my normal route to get through Grantville. I happen to be on the city's interactive map right now, looking at the comments people are making and making some of my own comments. And some people are commenting on this area, and I am as well. But because I saw the comments, I figured I would just show you how I do this. I've done this in other videos before, this route, but I think I've talked about some other things. This actually isn't so bad. I've never gotten any harassment on this little loop around Zion, and then it brings us to the In-N-Out Burger and Friars Road. If I were going west onto Friars, I would think I would do this anyway rather than brave the entrances and exits of the shopping centers between where I started and where we're ending up now. It's just calmer and shadier, frankly, and we go from here. So I'm going to go straight on. This is Riverdale, I believe, and it passes actually some pretty interesting businesses. There's a resale store here for children's stuff. There's like an exotic pet store if you have a bird or anything like that. There's a brewery coming up here, which actually I've never stopped into. As much as I enjoy a good pint, I never really stop for a beer on my way home. I don't like to do that. I just kind of want to get to my destination. Really, the big thing is that at the end of this block is the Vanderveer location of Kaiser, which is super useful if that's your healthcare coverage. I know I've biked here before for various appointments or to get medications or prescriptions and things like that. When I get over to this road here, we do this little jog around the corner, and this is Vanderveer Avenue, and we're going to take this to Fairmount Avenue, which is also, it's fine, but I feel like I'd rather be on Mission Gorge. I'd rather be just going straight rather than having to make all these turns. And just a quick note how these drivers are not actually making complete stops at the stop sign, and I just want you to keep that in mind when I do what I do right there. So thanks. It's a bunch of businesses that run out of these warehouses. There used to be a brewery right over here that was actually quite good, but they closed a number of years ago. There's some new housing over here, and I think that's a major component to keep in mind. This is an area where people live, and I think areas like this are going to get more housing increasingly, so more people are going to live here. And if people are going to live here, they need to be able to get around without driving cars. You can't provide housing for people and force them into the expense of that. I know nobody's forced to get a place or live in a place, but when people live somewhere, there needs to be amenities. And when there aren't any alternatives to driving, you might as well be forcing them into a car, which is what, $10,000-$15,000 a year when you add all of the expenses of that together. So there's going to be more housing. We need to have more infrastructure around here, and I hope that they do that with the new bike master plan. We're approaching some more warehouses off to the right, and car dealerships and mechanics are on the left. The Home Depot's over here, and I actually find this route useful when I need to stop in there on my way home. Sometimes I just need something simple like tape or batteries or a small tool or a drill bit or something like that. Sometimes I have something from a project that I just throw it in my bag in the morning. I pop in there and I return it. I always have to bring my bike into that shop because into that gigantic megastore because there are no bike racks outside. So if I want to keep my bike safe, I take it with me. Also, usually this section's backed up by car traffic, and I'm up on the sidewalk, but I didn't want to get in the way of the hot dog vendor that was back there, and it was pretty clear on this particular ride. So I do hop up on the sidewalk here because there's no infrastructure. And when we get to Mission Gorge here, there's that little shoulder, but I don't think anybody's fooling themselves into thinking that that's a bike lane. That seems to just be a shoulder. and it goes away right away as the turning lane comes up. But we drop down the ramp, and this is how we have to cross under the 8 every single time. I get into the main travel lane here, I get into this dotted white line, and I always pull up to this driver and I tell them that I wave, and I tell them that I'm going to go forward, and usually they're like, oh, okay. So that's what I did there, and luckily, in all the times I've ridden this, I've never had a driver who's giving me the finger or giving me a hard time. All of them seem to understand that I need to cross here, and I'm going to be in front of them. I'm going to be going a little slower than them for a few seconds while they approach the ramps to get on the 8 either east or west. So, this is the infrastructure. And I know that there's a plan. I actually talked about this in another video, and I should be able to drop that right here on the screen at the 6-minute mark. And there is a video to redo this area, and a plan to redo this area. So I'm looking forward to that. It's a plan that they did a while ago. I'm kind of curious when they're actually going to start it. But I'm just reminded of that now as I'm sitting here waiting for this light to turn. And just look at all these drivers. Everyone's just going about their day. There's a gas station there. There's a big car wash off to the side. I'm looking at the light that's on the pole to see when it turns yellow. That'll give me just a little notice. And even though I had the green light, people just run the red light that they had. And I get going. Luckily, that driver behind me is keeping a safe distance. And then the sharrows start, which is totally goofy, as if those are doing anything. And then I can merge into the green paint right over here, enjoy being back in a bike lane, even though paint is not protection. And from here, we are going to drive less and ride a bike. Thanks for coming with me through Grantville.